Of course, it's definitely something, in your mind, and I always think about I always hear my dad's voice in my mind, all the time, because it's always bone or blood, you know his motto, and you know his slang with everything. So, of course, I was definitely hearing his voice in the back of my head, but at the end of the day, I want to be productive, I want to give you guys the best work, and I want to be at my best at all.
Don't skip a single second of this video, and if this story touches your heart, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments. Where are you watching from? Let's begin. You want to know who Shedeur Sanders really is? Forget the highlight reels for a second. Forget the draft grade. Forget the 5th round pick tag. Forget the fact that his last name is Sanders. Just listen to that one quote. "Every rep could be my last." That's not something you hear from your average rookie. That's not a media-coached soundbite. That's a mindset. That's a mission. That's a quarterback walking into a room full of grown men, many of whom have seen dozens of young guys come and go, and telling them without raising his voice, "I'm built for this." Now think about this. Deion Sanders wanted to come to camp. His dad, the Hall of Famer, the icon, Coach Prime himself, and Shedeur told him no. Not out of disrespect, not out of ego, but because Shedeur knows exactly what's at stake. He didn't want the cameras. He didn't want the attention. He wanted the work. That's the difference between being the son of a legend and becoming a legend on your own terms. This kid isn't clinging to a legacy. He's chasing one. So when he stood in front of those reporters, after days of being buried on the depth chart, after watching lesser quarterbacks take more meaningful reps, and calmly said, "Every rep could be my last," he wasn't just talking about training camp. He was revealing how he approaches this entire journey, like nothing is promised, like he has to earn everything, like he knows one wrong read, one bad day, one headline taken out of context, and the league writes him off as Coach Prime's kid who couldn't cut it. That quote, it wasn't a cry for attention. It was a challenge to himself, to the coaching staff, to the locker room. And what I respect most, it wasn't laced with bitterness. It wasn't passive-aggressive. It was focused, stoic, laser-sharp, the kind of mentality that separates the backups from the builders. Because that's what Shedeur is doing right now. He's building something, not just a resume, a reputation. When I heard that line, I didn't hear a rookie. I heard a pro. I heard a leader. And I thought, this isn't a moment. It's a movement. You can't teach that. You can't fake that. You either have that urgency in your bones or you don't. And Shedeur Sanders, he absolutely does. So, yeah, that quote went viral. And it should have. Because in a camp full of depth chart games and media spin, that one line cut through it all. It told us exactly who this kid is. And maybe more importantly, it told us he's not waiting around for anyone's permission. Because Shedeur's not just showing up. He's showing out. Let's talk about the quarterback room in Cleveland. Because this isn't just a battle for depth chart position. This is a war of narratives. A silent storm brewing behind closed doors. And at the center of it all, Shedeur Sanders. The wild card nobody wants to admit is shaking the ground beneath their feet. Now on paper, the hierarchy looks clean. Joe Flacco is the steady vet. He's the guy you hand the reins to when you want quiet, not chaos. Kenny Pickett? He's the rehab project. A first-rounder who fizzled in Pittsburgh and is now hoping a new zip code can save his career. Dillon Gabriel? Raw, exciting, but inconsistent. A long-term experiment more than a week 1 option. And then there's Shedeur, the so-called developmental guy. The 5th rounder with a famous last name and a chip so big it's casting shadows across the entire quarterback room. But here's what nobody wants to say out loud. This isn't a 4-man battle. Not really. This is a 3-man waiting room, with one dude forcing his way through the front door. Because Shedeur, he's not just competing, he's disrupting. Every day in camp, he's not just completing passes, he's controlling the tempo, he's adjusting protections, he's showing command of 98% of the playbook already. Let that sink in. As a rookie, while the others are finding their rhythm, Shedeur's building chemistry. You can feel it. The energy shifts when he steps in. And this battle? It's not just about throws. It's about choices. Quiet ones. Off-the-field ones. Like when Shedeur made the call to limit his arm early in camp. Not because he was hurt, but because he understands preservation. That's the kind of decision most rookies never even consider. They're too busy proving themselves into the ground. Shedeur, he's proving he already thinks like a starter. And let's not overlook that decision to keep his father, Coach Prime out of the facility. That wasn't easy. That was Shedeur drawing a line in the sand, saying, "I'm not here as his son. I'm here as my own man." That's a message, and the vets in that room heard it loud and clear. Now here's where it gets interesting. Beat writers are noticing, coaches are mumbling, teammates starting to lean in. Because while everyone's supposed to be playing their role in this orderly QB room, Shedeur's the one creating tension, the good kind. The kind that makes you reevaluate everything. This isn't a quarterback battle. This is an identity crisis. Because Shedeur doesn't just want snaps. He's making everyone else question who should get them. And every time he drops back in camp, whether it's with the 3s, the 2s, or whoever they line up in front of him, he's not just playing quarterback, he's building a case. And eventually, someone in that building is going to have to answer for why he's still waiting behind guys he's already outplaying. What does it really mean to be the son of Deion Sanders? I mean, think about it. The gold jackets, the Nike commercials, the aura, the legacy. It's not just a last name, it's a spotlight that never shuts off. And for Shedeur Sanders, that light isn't just bright, it burns. From the second he stepped into college football, people didn't see him. They saw Primetime 2.0. The expectations, sky high. The doubts, louder. And the media? Oh, they ate it up. Every throw, every workout, every post, wrapped in a headline about his dad. And let's be real, that's a hard script to flip. Because in the NFL, perception can be more powerful than performance. And right now, a lot of folks still think Shedeur is just a storyline. That he's in that Browns quarterback room because of connections, not credentials. But here's the twist they don't want to talk about. Shedeur told his own father not to come to camp. Not out of disrespect, not out of pride, but because he knows what the name does. He knows how fast the media turns a sideline hug into a headline. He knows how quickly Prime's son becomes Coach Prime takes over the Browns. So he said no, not here, not now. That's not the move of someone riding coattails. That's the move of someone cutting their own path, even when it hurts. Because make no mistake, Shedeur loves his father. That bond is deep. But love doesn't mean leaning. It means learning. And what he's learned is that NFL success doesn't care about lineage. It cares about grit, work ethic, growth. And Shedeur? He's doing the work in silence. He's not tweeting through the hate. He's not firing back at doubters. He's not leaning on family fame. He's out there early. He's staying late. He's making the weight room his second home. He's proving, not posturing. And yet, the pressure's still there. It's in every whisper of, he's only here because of Deion. It's in every pause before a compliment, like people are afraid to give credit that hasn't passed through a filter of criticism. But what they don't see, what we're starting to see, is the internal battle Shedeur is fighting. Not just against defenders, against perception, against the legacy that built him, but now dares him to escape it. And that's what makes this journey different. Because this isn't about becoming the next Deion. This is about escaping Deion, with love, with respect, but with distance. And if Shedeur keeps growing like this, keeps walking that narrow path between shadow and spotlight, he's not just going to outrun the name, he's going to redefine it. There's something different about Shedeur Sanders. And no, I'm not talking about his arm talent. I'm not talking about the highlight throws or the name on the back of the jersey. I'm talking about the mindset, the mentality, the quiet fire that doesn't just help you survive in the NFL. It helps you lead. You listen to Shedeur talk, and you realize real quick, this dude isn't rattled by the spotlight. He's not out here begging for first-team reps. He's not counting who's ahead of him in the depth chart. He's counting reps like they're gold, because every single one is an opportunity. He said it best, every rep could be my last. That's not a soundbite. That's a worldview. That's a guy who knows he's in a system that wasn't built for him, that the odds are stacked, that there's politics in play. And still, he shows up, early, stays late, sharpens every read, every audible, every damn checkdown like it matters. Because it does. This isn't about ego. This is about edge. You watch him in the locker room. No flash, no extra. He lets the work speak. Veterans are starting to nod. Beat writers are picking up on it too. There's a presence there, not loud, but firm. Like a young quarterback who doesn't need the room to know who he is. But somehow, they all do. And here's what blows my mind. The mental discipline. The guy's wired different. While some rookies come in needing validation, Shedeur's already locked in on earning respect. Not chasing it, not performing for the cameras, just doing the work, day in and day out, because he knows what it means to build trust. He once said, "Adversity reveals character," and you can feel he's lived that. Watching his dad fight through cancer, stepping into college with the world calling him overhyped, moving into a league that doesn't hand out anything for free. That pressure doesn't shrink him, it focuses him. This league eats up weak mindsets. It exposes guys who need everything to be perfect. But Shedeur? He's swimming against the current. Upstream, head down, no flinch. And don't forget, while others are flexing about what team they're repping in drills, Shedeur's focused on execution. Doesn't matter if it's first string, second string, scout team, he's gonna make it count. That's leadership. That's self-belief. That's what separates the rookies with talent from the ones who eventually run the damn huddle. The Browns may not be saying it yet, but you can feel it building. Shedeur is not just a quarterback with upside, he's a turning point. And if you're paying attention, you know exactly what that means. Let's fast forward a few weeks. Picture it. Preseason, lights on, national broadcast, and Shedeur Sanders is under center. And then boom. He drops back, surveys, steps into the pocket, and throws a frozen rope into the end zone. Touchdown. Now imagine that moment, not just as a highlight, but as a reckoning. Because when Shedeur shines under the lights, it's not just another rookie touchdown, it's a message. To the front office, to the fans, to every analyst that labeled him a project. It's the moment this conversation stops being hypothetical. It becomes real. And let me ask you, what happens next? Fans erupt. Twitter melts. NFL media scrambles for a new narrative. Browns reporters start asking Stefanski the tough questions. Are you really going to bench the guy who just outplayed your vets? How do you keep Shedeur off the field now? You feel that? That's pressure. And pressure reveals more than it breaks. Because if Shedeur performs in the preseason, and let's be honest, all signs point to it, then this coaching staff is going to face the storm. The depth chart politics, out the window. The "he needs time" excuses, not going to fly when the whole world just watched him command a drive like a 5-year starter. And now we're staring at a real quarterback controversy. But not one born out of failure, one born out of promise. The locker room sees it. Players rally around what works. If Shedeur moves the chains, shows poise, lifts the energy. Do you really think veterans won't take notice? Do you really think they'll care where he was drafted or what his last name is? They'll follow the guy who produces. And Shedeur is built to deliver. Look, I know some fans are skeptical. They hear Deion's son and think hype. But this ain't about prime. This is about proof. And Shedeur's putting it on tape, day by day, throw by throw. So now, Browns fans, it's on you. Are you really ready to support this kid? Not because of flash, not because of a name, but because you see it with your own eyes? Because if he balls out in preseason, this isn't just a feel-good story anymore. It's a quarterback reckoning, and you'll have to choose. Cling to the safe option or ride with the future? Because make no mistake, Shedeur Sanders isn't asking for permission. He's about to take it. And when he does, when that fire meets opportunity on a national stage, don't say you weren't warned. This is the storm before the breakout. This is the start of something Cleveland's been waiting on for years. QB1, written in Sanders ink.